PSSM has started a new program called as SWAG. It means Save Water and Go Green. S for save, W for water, G for go, and another G for green. Save water and go green, my dear friends. We should not waste water. We should always be very, very careful in conserving our water resources. SWAG. It means let us not waste a drop of water. Go green. Yes, every drop of water should be utilized properly. G for go, and another G. Every drop of water should be used for in the best possible way. We should not waste water. If you are wasting water, we should always be then you are contributing to the poverty of the nation. Let us not. If you are conserving water, every drop of water, you are conserving. Water should be utilized properly. The nature, and you are making the nature prosper. We have to conserve water. If you are wasting whenever you are seeing an open tap, please close it. Let not the water go waste. This is called as every drop of water. Save water. You are conserving, and then go green. Plant trees, and you are making the nature prosper. Everybody should plant trees. Water. There is a tree for a man, for a human being, to plant trees. Let not the water go waste. We want a very green planet, not a dry planet. Save water.
Divine evening, everyone, and we welcome you all to today's Day 3 Holistic Buddha session. So let's begin the session with the Ana-Pana-Sati Meditation. Prepare yourself and be seated in the most comfortable position. Cross your legs, clasp your fingers, and gently close your eyes for this meditation. Keep your awareness on your natural incoming and outgoing breath. Let's meditate for 30 minutes. slowly come back to your body's awareness. Keep your both palms over your eyes for 10 seconds. And gently open the eyes. It's thanks to the universe for giving us the opportunity to meditate and the time to meditate. I now hand over the platform to Asha ji for the session.
Atmavandan Masters, thank you for joining today's session. Today is day 3 of the Holistic Buddha program. So for those of you who joined new today, on day 1 we covered what is nature cure and what is the root cause of all health issues. So we discussed that the root cause of all health issues is only one, which is the accumulation of toxins in the body. And the solution is to change our lifestyle so that the body can do what it is designed for best, which means it can remove the toxins, it can detoxify itself and come back to balance. So on day 2, yesterday, that is Smita spoke about what are plant-based foods, how our body is biologically designed only to consume plant-based foods, and why animal foods are not really suited for our body. So animal foods covers all forms of dairy like ghee, butter, buttermilk, yogurt, and milk itself, and then honey and meat and dairy, meat and eggs. So she covered all these things that we are best suited to eat plant-based foods, and when we consume plant-based foods, we can enjoy the best of health. Not just health, when we consume plant-based foods, we are not inflicting any violence on animals who are our co-inhabitants on this planet. They have their own life, they have their own purpose on this planet, and the policy is ahimsa, live and let live. So that is why we have to, as a species, move faster and faster towards plant-based foods, right? So the other aspect of healthy eating, which we will cover today, is whole foods, right? So we always advocate whole plant-based foods. Yesterday we covered plant-based foods, so we will cover what are whole foods and what happens when we consume refined foods. So I think some of you are already familiar with this topic, but nevertheless, let's start. So whole foods are foods which are given by nature, which have been already perfectly packaged by nature. So nature has taken care of, through these thousands of years of evolution, perfected, the produce which it gives through the plants for us. So it has already done the perfect packaging. There is no need for us to apply extra processing or modify the food in any form before we consume it. Actually, when we modify food, when we process it, we actually fragment it. So whatever nature had perfectly given, we are altering its original form. We are removing the water content, we are removing the fiber content in these foods, which makes it more difficult for the body to recognize what food it is and what it can take and what it can throw out. So the assimilation of such foods becomes difficult. It takes more energy by the body to digest fragmented foods, and not only digestion, even excretion slows down when we eat refined foods. So whole foods are also, since they are perfectly packaged, not possible to overeat, right? So we will see in the next slide what are these refined foods and how they, they make us overeat, they make us have cravings, and we feel like eating again and again throughout the day. Since whole foods are there with their entire fiber and water and the nutrients intact, when we eat whole foods, the body doesn't signal you to keep eating all the time. So you must have heard many spiritual leaders talk about, eating less. So actually, as we grow older, once we have finished our growing age, right, and once we, cross the age of, let's say, 25 or 30 years, actually 2 meals a day, or maximum 3 meals a day, of which a couple of them should be definitely fruit-based meals, are more than enough to satisfy all our nutrition needs. The whole problem today, why we are eating so much, is because we are processing the foods which have already been perfectly manufactured by nature and consuming it. So whole foods which are biologically suited for our species are fruits, vegetables, whole legumes. That means legumes in their whole form, not split along with the skin. Then whole grains, nuts and seeds. Okay, so this is what we should base our we should base our diet on. So let's see what do we actually mean by, refined foods. So refined foods are not just limited to these, but I'm just covering the major ones here. So maida, right? So a lot of Indian sweets, rotis, all these are based on maida. Maida is actually the refined form of wheat. The fiber has been removed, and it's a super soft flour which gives a very stretchable kind of quality to the kind of dishes you make. You must remember, maybe some of us, who are older, earlier we would use a paste of maida to stick paper, right? So if you want to stick some pictures on our notebook, or stick some pages together, we would make a paste of maida, and it would be so gummy, and we could easily stick paper with that, right? So can you imagine what happens when you eat a product made of maida, how it is going to, react in your body, right? So it is a fragmented food. All the wheat bran, the nutrition in that, the fiber in that has been removed. So it is just plain starch, and it makes it very difficult for the body to digest and remove. So what happens, all these refined foods, they actually form like a kind of paste inside your colon, because they are without the fiber, right? So fiber is something which your body needs to have that peristalsis action, so that it can excrete the food out. But when we eat refined, highly refined foods like maida, they just stick around in the intestine. They cause false hungers, and they are also a reason for deficiencies. We will understand more about that in the next slide. So the next one is rava. Right, so rava is a very favorite item, especially in the south. We use rava a lot to make upma and idlis and all those things. So rava is basically called cream of wheat, right? So again, it's a refined form of wheat. It's a coarser form compared to maida. But again, this is going to make you overeat and not supply any fiber. Next comes white rice. So if you see earlier, our ancestors, they used to mostly eat red rice, right? Red rice, or boiled rice, hand pounded rice. But today what has happened is, these kinds of rice have become more expensive, and white rice is very much cheaper compared to the other kinds of rice, and they are easily accessible in most shops. Not only that, white rice, because of the high starch content in white rice and the ease of cooking it, and the ease with which it blends in many dishes, we have started using white rice more and more. And you will observe that you can actually eat a lot of white rice, right? If it was an unrefined rice, you cannot eat that much, but if it is white rice, you can eat a lot of it. So you must have observed, I don't know if you've tried this in your kitchen. If not, you can try it. So you can keep a dabba of white rice and another dabba of red rice or any whole organic rice. Okay. And you observe, let's say give it a couple of months, and you observe which of these rices are getting spoiled. Spoiled means whether it's fungus or vermin coming into the rice, some small insects. So you will observe that actually the red rice gets the attack of these insects faster. That means that insects themselves have so much intelligence in them, they know that white rice is devoid of nutrition. So this white rice somehow never gets spoiled. You can keep it for months together and it keeps going, right? So in many places, what the mills do is they take the whole rice and they mill it. They remove the fiber, create white rice, and that fiber is fed to cows, right? It is fed to cows to increase their milk production. Okay, so this white rice is so devoid of nutrition, and I have heard that this white rice, when it is not sold, if a particular store is not able to sell its reserve of white rice, they send it again to the mill where it is polished again and again. So there is absolutely no nutrition in this kind of fragmented foods. Next is processed millets. So today there is a big movement of millets. People like to consume millets because it's supposed to have a lower glycemic index. It is good for our environment. It is a native food and there are so many varieties available. So a lot of people are going back to their roots and consuming millets. But we have to be careful that we buy the right kind of millets, because most millets, if they are in unrefined form, they have a very dull color. But if you're buying polished millets, they will have a bright yellow color or a bright white color. So just be careful, visit the proper organic shops around your neighborhood and buy only processed millets. Next comes oil. So oil is a huge topic in India. Every Indian cooking starts with oil in the pan, right? So how do we cook our sabzis or sambar or any gravy? First, oil is poured into the pan. It is heated till it smokes. Then the tadka is added. Then we fry the onions and tomatoes in that. And then we add the vegetables and make it. So every dish starts with the usage of oil. And if you see the kind of street food, the processed food, which many youngsters, and not only youngsters, nowadays, everyone, people of all ages are consuming foods which are high in fat, and most of it is using high amounts of oil. And many shops are selling oil which has been heated and reheated many times, so that oil never is thrown away. To the same existing oil, a new a little more extra oil is added, and that oil is heated, and the chips and other stuff which we buy from the street vendors, it keeps going on and on. So what happens is that it becomes rancid. Any fat, when it is heated to high temperatures, become rancid and becomes carcinogenic. Do you actually know how oil is refined? We think that this golden color liquid which is sold in shops with bright labels, with a lot of media advertising, where a lot of film stars and all those people are advertising, sports stars are all advertising oils. So there are different brands of oil. Some say it is heart healthy, some say it is good for your skin, for your brain, low cholesterol. All these claims are made, but actually oil is not a whole food, right? Oil has been extracted from nuts and seeds by crushing them in mills and extracting the pure fat out of these nuts and seeds. That means the original content which was there in the nut or the seed, which was the nutrition, which was the fiber, all that is lost and only the pure fat is extracted. And the way the refined oil industry works is that a lot of processing is done on this, on this pressed seed or nut pressed oil before it is packed into a bottle. So there is deodorizing done, there is bleaching done, then there is solvent extraction using some dangerous solvents like hexane, which is actually a petrochemical product. All these things are added to oil and the oil is made. You will see that oil is not it is not at all a food, right? You can keep a bottle of oil in your kitchen and it will last for years. So can you imagine when we consume something like that, what happens inside our body? It is going to be there for many weeks, right? Any food, if it is really our food, should be able to disintegrate fast and should be able to be digested fast. So oil is not, refined oil especially is not such a product. You may be surprised to know that there are actually big industries, big like mafia in the oil industry. The oil which is used, it goes through many different levels. First, the 5-star hotels use the fresh oil, and then it comes to the other like the 4-star and the 3-star restaurants, and then it comes to the street foods. And many of these oils are actually repurposed, repackaged and sold, and that is what is being used in many restaurants. It is unfortunate that Indian food, which is sattvic in nature, which can be made so tasty with fresh ingredients nowadays, is being prepared and drowned with a lot of oil and masalas. So when this high fat food item gets into our body, gets into the blood, because it is without any fiber, the oil readily gets into the blood and it causes sludging of the blood. That means the blood which gets laden with all this fat starts flowing slower and slower. All the chemicals in the oil, they cause inflammation of the blood vessels. The blood vessels start getting thicker and narrowing down, and this is the cause for many heart attacks today in the Indian population. So oil is something we have to be very mindful about. Next week, we will be speaking about how you can make your dishes very tasty even without oil. You can use a paste of nuts, you can use coconuts, all these things you can use in your dishes to make them tasty. There are also different techniques like how you can pair a dry dish with a gravy based dish so that you don't feel the dryness. Because people say that, oil is needed as to bring more depth of flavors to the dishes. It needs oil is needed to carry the spices, or it appears too dry. So many reasons are there, but it is possible to do oil-free cooking, and it can be very tasty too. So all these techniques we will explain next week. So we have to experiment a little by little on bringing whole foods into our kitchen and reducing the usage of all these fragmented foods. Next comes sugar, right? So sugar is also similar to oil. Our Indian population, we use a lot of sugar. In fact, if you speak to some of your friends or counterparts in Western countries, they will tell us that Indian sweets are too sweet, right? Because we use a lot of sugar in our sweets, and everyone likes sweets, right? So you actually, if you see, most of our high fat foods, they are a combination of refined grains, sugars, fats, and salts, right? So this is the usual combination. So when this combination you will never find in nature. Can you find any food which is high in sugar, salt, fats, grains in nature? No, right? So nature has made everything moderate. It is only we, because of our neural capacity to create new things. Unfortunately, we have also created newer and newer types of dishes by processing all these things. So sugar again is a highly refined form of sugar cane, right? Now sugar cane is coming up a lot because Sankranti is around the corner. So this sugar cane is actually pressed to extract the juice. The juice is subjected to further processing lot of other chemicals similar to oil processing is added. So white sugar, which lands on our, on our kitchen counters, is actually having a lot of chemicals like sulfur and phosphorus and all that, which can cause respiratory issues, which can cause dental issues, which can cause mood swings, and which makes food very addictive. It also dulls our taste buds so that our level of sweetness keeps increasing and increasing. Next comes processed foods, that is the foods which we buy from the shops, the fast moving consumer goods, very popular with all ages, right? Very convenient and very cheap too. So many youngsters are nowadays resorting to that. So the chips, the cornflakes, alcohol, which is also processed food, right? All these things. This is just a small example, but there are so many thousands and thousands of products which are processed, right? The biscuits. And now even these companies have entered into the lunch and breakfast space also, right? So you can buy all these things processed, which makes it very convenient, but which actually puts a big burden on the body because they are fragmented and the inner prana shakti or the vitality which was there in the whole food is lost because it has been processed in factories. So what happens when we eat refined foods is there is loss of fiber, so we tend to overeat. And not only that, because there is no fiber in these foods, it is not easy by the body to remove these foods, remove the end products of these foods after digestion. So the many people are going through constipation issues because day after day, when we eat all these kind of highly refined foods, the body is not able to take it out in a timely manner because it doesn't have the fiber which is needed to create the peristalsis motion. So it gets stuck inside and constipation starts happening, which causes a lot of agony and other issues. Like somebody today was asking on the YouTube channel, right? Sorry, on the WhatsApp group, what is the cause for worms and whether tablets are advisable for worms. So what happens is when we eat foods like maida or other flour-based products, the white breads which we get in the shop, the white rice, all these things, they take a long time to come out of our body. So they ferment inside. When they ferment inside, they provide the right kind of environment necessary for worms, for parasites, for bacteria and other things to grow rapidly inside. Remember that our body is warm inside, right? So it is almost 37 degrees inside. So the combination of a warm environment, the darkness, the moisture and this fermenting foods inside our gut, they provide the right kind of the situation needed for these worms to develop. So these worms are not coming from outside. So it is happening inside. Remember, our body is just like soil, right? We are biological species. So these things, these worms can develop from within. So there is no sense in killing these worms by eating medicines because it is not only going to kill the worms, it's also going to kill parts of us. The worms are actually there because the food is available for them and they are only doing the job, right? So every farmer knows that he should not kill earthworms or other microorganisms in the soil because that is what is making the soil rich, and these organisms are only there to clear out the waste, or to add more, to remove the old stuff inside. So what we need to do is eat right, eat the proper kinds of foods, and once the food which is needed for these worms or organisms are no longer available, they will die a natural death and the body will remove them. So there is no need to consume external medicines to kill these worms. Then hormonal imbalance. So whenever the body creates hormones, and if there is an excess of hormones, especially coming from animal products, right? The body needs fiber because the body pulls out all these extra circulating hormones with fiber. But if we are not eating foods with fiber, these hormones keep circulating and they are carried by the liver again to the blood, and we have extra hormones uh, causing widespread imbalance in the body. So today, many people are going through hormonal issues like thyroid, diabetes, which is basically an imbalance of the insulin hormone, then PCOD, mood swings, infertility. All these issues are because of hormonal imbalance coming from foods which are high in fat, protein, fragmented foods, and which have no fiber. You must also have understood from yesterday's session that animal products do not have any fiber. Only plants have fiber. Only plant cells create fiber. So animal products do not have fiber. So the more we eat animal products, right, the more it gets stuck inside, and it is very difficult for the body to process it and throw it out. So that is one of the primary reasons for situations like, hormonal imbalance, worms, and false cravings and hunger, because the body is not getting what it needs, because the food we eat is fragmented, it is not having the necessary nutrition, because we stripped it all out, right? So it keeps asking you again and again, it will signal hunger. So that's why you see that the more we eat certain kinds of foods, especially you must have observed that if you take sugar based foods or if you take maida based foods, some street foods, within a few hours you feel hungry again. That is because the body's needs was not met with the right kind of nutritionally superior foods. So it creates more cravings and hunger, more overeating, and hence more weight gain. It causes mood swings, especially things like sugar, because it rapidly increases the sugar level in the blood, and then because it is not processed slowly, there is no fiber for the body to slowly release sugar, there is a rapid decline after some time. So it goes up and goes down, and we feel it in our mind as a mood swing. When we are eating it, when we are eating the sweet, we feel very happy and satiated, but within half an hour or 1 hour, there is a slump in our body's energy, which we think, which we process as depression or a feeling of feeling low. So all these things are contributing to our mental, to our mindset also. Constipation I already covered. So the loss of minerals and vitamins happen because the bran in the grains, or the nutrition, for example, the sugar cane, which had all that nutrition, the fiber, everything is removed, and it's just plain processed dry food which we are eating. Overeating and weight gain because there are more and more cravings, no fiber, so we can eat more quantity, which adds to extra calories in our body. Then deficiencies also I covered. The food we are eating itself is nutritionally deplete, and added to that, because these kinds of foods, they create like a paste inside our colon. Whatever the body wanted to absorb through the walls of the colon, absorb the nutrition, it will not happen, because there is a coating on the colon, the digestive system, there is a coating on that. So when these things are not being absorbed by the body, automatically when you go for a blood test or when you're feeling low, you will be diagnosed with a deficiency. But we are going to speak later on in the program that such deficiencies you cannot correct by taking medicines, because medicines again are fragmented foods. They are not whole foods, right? You do not find medicines in nature. So when we are trying to address a problem with more problems, so the only way to correct all this is to shift back to whole foods. Dental issues. So many of us think that it is, we need a better toothpaste, we need a better toothbrush or something like that. But actually, many dental issues are happening because of acidic foods. We will cover acidic foods in the coming days. But many of these refined foods are acid creating in nature. So the mouth is also part of our digestive system, right? So the environment in the mouth becomes acidic, and the body tries to neutralize these acids by leaching out certain minerals from our teeth. So the teeth becomes weak and lot of dental issues start. Earlier, dental issues only used to be in the elderly, but now we are seeing so many dental issues in even very young kids. That is because they are eating a lot of these refined foods. They are eating a lot of animal-based foods. What they eat in the parties, in the birthday parties, right? In schools, in street foods. All these things are adding to the problem, and the body is showing up all these things as symptoms. So we have to move back to the kind of diet our body is designed for. So you are the energy you eat. Any kind of food that you consume in its pure natural form as given by nature, preferably in the raw form, right? Because raw form, that means it is food cooked by the sun. It is Suryahar. The sun, the wind, the water absorbed by the plant has already cooked the food perfectly for you. Sun is the perfect chef, right? It is the most, he or she, he is the most superior form of chef. So he has already prepared the food with all the nutrition and the water and the fiber, everything available. So when we eat it in its natural form, the energy which it gives causes us to vibrate at a high frequency. So that in turn translates to more energy available in our day-to-day life, better spiritual health, better mental health, and physical health. So let's get back to what nature wanted us to eat. Every species on our planet eats food as available in nature, right? It is only we who have created a mega food industry, which is also the biggest polluter on our planet by processing all these foods. It is causing a lot of health problems in today's generation. So we have to recognize this fact and get back to what our body was designed for. So that's it for today. It was not a very involved topic, but it is very necessary to think about this, because though it may be a small issue, we do not pay much attention to it, right? Because that's what we have all been eating for many, many years now. So we will cover more about acidic foods in tomorrow's session, and we will touch upon refined foods again in tomorrow's session. So now we can take any questions if you have, either about today's session or yesterday. If you had any leftover questions about, animal products or anything like that, we can discuss more. Okay, so we have some questions here. Okay, so Sanjana asks, what to use instead of cornflakes, as kids love that. Yeah, not just kids, Sanjana, nowadays busy executives, people who are traveling, all this cornflakes and all this kind of wheat flakes, all the, the honey loops, all that has made a big impact in the in our day-to-day diet, because it's very convenient, right? You just have to take it out of the packet. So even our traditional breakfast recipes have been replaced with this. So what is cornflakes? It's basically the refined form of corn, right? So corn, which is nutritionally complete, has been processed to make cornflakes. And the companies claim that these flakes have all this vitamin A, vitamin C, this, that. If you look at the back of the packet, there's a whole list of stuff which they say it has. But we cannot add back things which have been taken out of a whole food, fragment it, and then add it back. The body will not recognize it, right? So what has been altered from its original form, if you try to put back certain minerals and vitamins back to it, the body will still recognize it as fragmented food, and it will not be able to digest it. So basically, it is becoming toxic in the body. So instead of cornflakes, we are actually going to cover diet plan sometime later this week. What should be our ideal diet plan, morning, afternoon, evening, dinner? We are going to talk about that. But in short, try to give your kids whole foods, right? So you can give them fruits. Fruits are always the best option for a healthy, light breakfast. You can make smoothies out of fruits, you can make juices, you can give whole fruits. If they don't like that, then why not just give the corn, right? You can just steam the corn and give it. Why cornflakes? So it will take a little bit of time for your child to adjust back to whole foods, because remember, refined foods are very addictive, because the combination of high starch, sugars, um, uh, the fats, all this makes it very alluring, right? And the packet, the sound, all these things are actually manufactured in a way to hook the customer. There are food scientists working in these companies, so they are just doing their job, right? But we need to be aware of what it is doing to our body, and slowly, with a lot of compassion, with love, slowly move our kids back to nature's diet. So, Shrutika says, ghee for kids is used. Is it necessary or any other option? No, Shrutika, we do not need any ghee. In fact, the calf itself, after it is around 6 months, right, it stops taking the cow's milk. It stops drinking its mother's milk. So, ghee is just a processed form of dairy. It is high in fats and it is not suited to the human constitution. So instead of ghee, if you really want to add a little bit of fats to your baby's food, you can use a paste of, let's say, cashews or almonds, or you can use some coconut. All these things are good, healthy sources of fat. So we don't need to take any food from the animal world to fulfill our requirements. And most of the problems, health problems of today, are because of high protein, high fat diets. We think that we need to, fill our body with high fats, lot of nuts and seeds, high protein foods coming from dairy, all these things. But actually, our body doesn't need so much food. It only needs high quality food. It doesn't need food high in quantity or dense foods. So the more dense our foods are, the more dense our emotions will be, the more dense our body will be. And it becomes really difficult to throw out toxins in a timely manner, because the body's energy gets locked in processing dense foods. We are going to be speaking about dense foods later on. So the lighter we eat, the better quality foods we eat, the more water content, the more fiber content and whole foods we eat, the better our body will perform. What about pesticides in fruits? Yes, so unfortunately, today a lot of fruits and vegetables are sprayed with pesticides, but you can try to buy what is in season, what is local, what is organic. If you can find, if you can know your farmer, if you can connect to the source of your where they are growing, and then buy from reputed sources, you will have lesser pesticides. But even with pesticides, the inner intelligence within the fruit or the vegetables and the water content, the fiber, all these things are going to act together and pull out, any pesticides which gets into our body. So our body is not that weak that a little bit of pesticides it's not able to handle. The body can handle it. And remember that cooking foods will not remove pesticides. Cooking foods makes the pesticides or any other chemicals on the fruit more complex, right? Because more complex and more concentrated, because the water evaporates when you cook the food. So there are many of our coaches who have healed even with non-organic fruits or vegetables. So don't worry about it. Just buy them, wash them well, buy what is in season and enjoy them. Certain fruits, for example, fruits which have wax content on them, nowadays a lot of apples are there with wax. Those things you can peel them, you can remove the skin and then consume them. Okay, so
Prashanti, would you like to ask?
okay.
Hello?
Yes, Prashanti.
Yeah, actually, the same I was about to ask. If we eat raw salads, like the pesticides, will we have any effect due to the pesticides on the vegetables? So yeah, I think you have answered it, right?
Yeah, don't get worried about eating raw foods. The misconception is when we cook it, we feel that the pesticides go away, but actually they become more complex for the body to process. And as long as the food is in its natural form, the body will be able to process it.
Okay.
And let's all, together encourage our local farmers. Let's encourage organic farmers. Even though it may cost a little bit more, let's try to buy more from the organic market so that it becomes an encouragement for farmers to switch over from chemical farming to organic farming, and the cost of these vegetables and fruits also come down.
Yeah, sure. Sure, Asha. Thank you. That was very informative.
Thank you.
Yes, Divya Balakrishnan.
Hi, am I audible?
Yes.
Oops.
Yeah, hi. So my question is, so you said because of all these years of abuse with refined food and all, and our gut and intestine are they have a they have a pasty layer inside, which prevents further nutrition from being absorbed and all. So if we are to make a switch to plant-based whole food, I mean, if we are to start this way now, before that, do we have to detox to get rid of that first? Or, I mean, is there anything like that to get rid of whatever is already accumulated, all these toxins that's already accumulated? Do we have to do something about that before starting this kind of a lifestyle?
Yeah, good question. The job of detoxification is with the body, right? It is the body's job to detoxify. And the body knows that there are toxins, there are all these unexcreted material inside. All that we need to do is provide enough rest and provide a break from eating and give the right kind of foods for the body to, clear out like a clearance sale, remove all the stuff inside. So this will happen automatically because the body is detoxifying 24/7. It's not that it starts at certain time and then ends and then nothing happens. It's a normal physiological activity which is going on all the time. So when we provide our body foods with fiber, when we provide our body foods with water and all those things, automatically whatever is inside will be swept out like a broom, especially fruits and all those things. It will remove the deposits in the colon and take them out. Also, we are going to be covering fasting on one of these days. Fasting is also a great way for the body to detoxify, because as long as there is food coming into the system, the body is always going to prioritize processing this food, right? It doesn't have time to clear out what is already inside. So we are going to be covering fasting also in one of these days. So all these mechanisms combined, enough physical rest, fasting once in a while, and the right kind of foods will help the body remove these things. Yes, there are certain situations in which people come to us with ulcers in their colon, or irritable bowel disease or things like that. In those cases, they may not be able to digest fiber immediately, especially the fiber coming from grains and legumes. So for such people, we put them on a fruit diet, fruit juices, or more fruits. So for some time, they eat only these easy to digest foods, and that helps the clearance to happen, and whatever is ulcerated inside, whatever is stuck inside, that kind of gets healed. And once that gets better, then we can start adding back the other high fiber foods. So that requires a proper coach to work with the person to understand their situation, to understand their food habits and where they are currently. Thank you.
Yes, we have another question saying nowadays doctors say that children are allergic to nuts. So what's the option?
Yeah, so allergies are another big topic. So today there are people who are allergic to bananas, they are allergic to oranges, right? All these things. There are two reasons for this. One is that we cannot be allergic to natural foods. If we are having an allergy problem to, let's say, nuts and seeds or fruits, or even to, things like pollens or pet hair or things like that, that is because our body is toxic from inside. The toxic level, just like a water tank, it has risen high, and it just needs a little bit of trigger from a nut or a seed or a pollen or some grass or smoke to tip it over the line, and then allergy symptoms flare up. So if you give your body a chance to detoxify, uh, the toxic levels will come down and the allergy condition will go away. But till you reach that condition, it is advisable not to eat that particular nut or that particular fruit which may be causing a problem. And as your body detoxifies and the toxic levels come down, you will be able to enjoy that fruit or the nut without your body causing any problem. Now, the other reason why children, especially to peanuts and other tree nuts, they get a reaction is because of vaccinations. So it is said that the peanuts or peanut oil or something like that is used as an adjuvant in vaccines. So these vaccines again are external agents, right? So they are external medicines which we put into the body, which many children go through many rounds of vaccinations in their childhood. So the body learns that this is a toxin. So when a child tries to consume peanuts later on, the body remembers that and treats it as a poison. So I'm not sure in such kind of situations whether the body will accept peanuts, but it has to be seen on a case to case basis. In every situation, if we allow the body enough time to offload these toxins, the same old foods which used to cause a reaction before will not cause any more reaction later on. But remember that things like lactose intolerance, like milk allergy, allergy to eggs, these are perfectly normal because we are not supposed to be ingesting these foods. So it is natural for the body to react when we eat animal based foods. But plant based foods, if there is a reaction, that means you need to clear your body, you need to detoxify more.
Right. There's one question about what's your opinion about cold pressed oils?
Yeah, cold pressed oils are better than refined oils because they do not have all those chemicals and they are not subjected to heat. But still, cold pressed oil is a refined food, right? It is still a fragmented food. It has been manufactured by crushing these nuts and seeds, so it's a very high calorie food. And what happens, whether it's cold pressed oil or refined oil, the food which we ingest with the oil, it coats, the vegetable or whatever you're eating, it's coated with the oil. So the enzymes which your body is releasing is not able to reach to the food and get digested. And any food which has oil in it, it takes many hours to get digested. So if you've eaten a food with cold pressed oil also for lunch and you eat a fruit in the evening, that fruit, because it digests fast, will cause fermentation, and it's an incompatible combination. So you will have gas and acidity and bloating and all kinds of things. So it is better to avoid all forms of oil as much as possible. We will teach you next week how to cook foods without oil. You just have to try it for a week and see how well the dish turns out. And the best part is the weight automatically falls down. So two of the most calorie rich foods are animal foods because they are high in fats. Like the cow is a large animal, right? So The fluid coming from a cow is naturally very high in fats, no fiber, and oil. Oil is also no fiber, high fat. So if we remove these two things from our diet, the weight will automatically fall. So many people who are struggling with weight issues will see a big change once they remove oil from their diet.
How about replacing cornflakes with millet, jowar, or bajra flakes?
Yeah, I think that's a better option. It's better than taking refined cornflakes. But you will see in a few days' time, we will be talking about the circadian rhythm. We will be talking about the diet plan, and then you will discover for yourself what is the best option for breakfast. And it's not any of these flakes. So stay tuned and come for our further classes, and you will understand.
Right. We have one more question. Can we get personal advice? No. Do we need a coach to study our body and plan a vegan diet or a plant-based diet?
It depends on the health of your body. What is the condition of the body? If you are in a very chronic state, it is possible that whatever diet changes we tell you right now may not be acceptable by your body. So this is not a individual counseling program, right? So we are going to be giving generic advice, but in certain situations, depending on what medicines the person is taking, what condition they may have, they may not be able to right away digest all these kinds of foods, and then you will be in confusion about why this is happening. And also, as the body detoxes, you may develop certain eliminative conditions like colds, coughs, fevers, and all that, which we will be covering in a couple of days' time. So it is good if you can engage a coach for some time who will educate you on all these things, who will handhold you, who will take you through all these crises which happen in the body onto the path of health. But if you do not have any major health conditions and you're able to grasp, if you're able to read certain books which we will share with you, then yes, of course, I don't think you may need a coach.
Right. Sanju C, would you like to ask a question?
Yeah, thank you. So what about neem leaves? I heard it boosts immunity. Having that, is that really beneficial? And how about amla juice or lime juice? Thank you.
Yeah. See, the cleansing action of the body is done by the body. So there is no food, there is no herb, or there is nothing external which does this to our body. The body heals itself, and in many cases, all these external things like amla or bitter leaves like neem and all this actually they slow down the process of detoxification. We will be speaking more about it when we cover healing crisis. For example, if you are having a cough, right? What do we do? What do people usually do? They drink something with pepper or ginger, or then a lot of kadas are made, then some herbs are taken. See, all these things are actually interfering with your body's natural ability to heal itself. The fastest way to heal from such situations is to leave the body alone. If you see animals in nature, when they are sick, what do? They just go to a corner and quietly lie down, right? And they will not eat anything for the next 2-3 days. If you have companion animals at home, you will observe their behavior. They just don't eat anything, they just fast for 2-3 days and they are perfectly fine. So actually the fastest way to heal is to leave the body alone, not administer all these things inside. And at the most, for example, if you are having a cough or a cold, you may have a headache, so you can take steaming, you can do gargling with warm water. So these things are okay, but not the administration of toxic herbs. So this is why nature cure is different from other systems like even Ayurveda or homeopathy. Like Ayurveda, advocates use of herbs, right, for these conditions. But we say that leave the body alone. The body does the job. It works best when it is non-interfered with.
Thank you so much, Sanju, for asking the question. And we now come to the end of the session for today, for the day 3. So my dear friends, we asked so much about our physical body, our physical health, and the solutions and the problems we discussed so much. But I would like to request whoever is coming new here, I would like to request all of you to incorporate meditation in your life. Every day, please do meditation. Because in reality, the physical body, the whatever results coming into the body are just the result. The cause is in your emotional body and the mental body. So when your mental body and the emotional body are healed, are healthy, then automatically your physical body will be healthy. So the root is in your mental body and your emotional body. And if you heal that, if you make both those bodies healthy, then your physical body will automatically be healthy and you don't have to worry about it too much. So if you can avoid all the fears, all the anxieties, all the stress, all the tensions, and all the, you have things from the past and the hurt, the pain, and so many other things like, negative emotions or, separativeness or jealousies or hatreds or animosities. All these things will affect the physical body. So you need to keep your emotional body and the mental body clean. The ego or fanaticism also plays a part in your mental body. So we need to do meditation in order to make our emotional body and mental body healthy. And the reflection will be on your physical body. So this particular program, the Holistic Buddha, is to have a totalitarian approach to all the 3 bodies that we have. The physical body, the emotional body, and the mental body. So when we do meditation, I would like to suggest everyone, request everyone to come and do meditation with all of us for the half an hour that we do. And not just for the half an hour, even out of the session when you go, you can meditate anywhere, anytime, just by sitting in a comfortable position, clasp your hands, close your eyes, and start observing your breath. As simple as that. So this is a wholesome healing process that you can do. In meditation, you can heal your emotional body and mental bodies, and also by practicing the right speech, right thoughts, right emotions. Once you come out of this meditation, and then we need to take care of our body by taking the right food, the right rest, right exercise, by taking care of our physical body. So this is a holistic, wholesome approach for a person to be healthy in all ways. So I'd like to request everyone to please incorporate meditation. Make your physical body, emotional body, and mental body healthy so that you become a wholesome, healthy person. You become a holistic Buddha. So that is what this program is all about. Please follow these 2 ladies who have come to help us to lead a holistic life. And we need to thank Patriji, who has introduced meditation to all of us. Ana-Pana-Sati meditation is the most simplest, easiest, effortless, most natural way of meditation. Nothing. Just clasp your hands, close your eyes, and observe your breathing. Any thoughts come, whatsoever thoughts come, just cut them off and again start observing your breath. No chanting, no mantra, no imaginations. As simple as that. So thank you so much, Asha, for coming in here. She was actually not feeling well, but this shows her commitment towards us, towards what she has to offer to all of us. So a big round of applause to Asha for coming in here in spite of not feeling well. Thank you so much for coming in here. And you have been a lovely audience. And please do come back again and again. Please do come for meditation. Please do take their help in making yourself as a holistic Buddha. Thank you so much, everyone. This is for day 3. We'll see you again on day 4. Please keep coming back and be active in the WhatsApp group. Take as many suggestions as possible. Ask questions and you will get answers. Thank you so much, everyone. Namaste. See you tomorrow.